Welcome to Leader You by Black River Performance Management, where we believe work should fuel the human spirit, not drain it. In this leadership podcast, we will dive into the lived experiences of people flourishing in today's workplace and beyond. Join us to hear real-life examples of experiences from our own lives and from the leaders we know and trust. Thank you for tuning into the Leader You podcast. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing two amazing guests that I really enjoy. I'm going to read you a little bit about their bio, and we're going to get started here today. Gorny is a lifelong athlete with the energy to go with it. Her drive for happiness, excellence, and fun are unmatched, carrying over into her success with Radon professionals. Allie has a knack for learning and picking up new skills, especially those that have a physical component. If anyone can do it, Allie can. Never did she ever think she'd land in Pocatello, Idaho, but a full scholarship at Idaho State University playing volleyball did just that. Not only did Allie play for four years of volleyball with ISU, she also got recruited to play basketball her fifth year. After college, Allie continued with career in coaching volleyball. Not too long into her career, Allie began... God, can I just read? Does anybody have some glasses? Some readers? Okay, let me start over. Allie Gorny is a lifelong athlete with the energy to go with it. Her drive for happiness, excellence, and fun are unmatched, carrying over into her success with Radon professionals. Allie has a knack for learning and picking up new skills, especially those that have a physical component. If anyone can do it, Allie can. Never did she ever think she'd land in Pocatello, Idaho, but a full scholarship at Idaho State University playing volleyball did just that. Not only did Allie play 4 years of volleyball with ISU, she also got recruited to play basketball her fifth year. After college, Allie continued with a career in coaching volleyball. Not too long into her career, Allie began as a Division I assistant coach with Idaho State, taking her team to win the Big Sky NCAA championship in 2013. I learned something new today. And Tiffani Wilson is not your average entrepreneur. Tiffani has a love for science and a passion for business, realizing her dreams every day as she co-owns multiple businesses with her partner, Allie Gorny. Making her way to Pocatello, Idaho in 2003, Tiffani completed at ISU as a Division I athlete in track and field, which is where Tiff and Allie met. Tiffani was throwing the javelin while Allie was playing volleyball. With a college education in biology and business, Tiffani has excelled at taking a wildly fun idea and turning it into a profitable way of life. In her heart of hearts, Tiffani loves crafting her life to suit her passion. And she's done just that. Tiffani has a gift for startups, ranging from solar to nuclear energy to construction and even more. Together, they landing on the purchase of the Radon professionals in 2016. Both Tiff and Allie say, we never grew up dreaming of being radon mitigators. It wasn't your childhood dream.
Wasn't on the radar.
Not this time.
But here they are, living the dream by mixing a passion for physical expression and business ownership. It only took one crawl space job to get them hooked on the Radon biz. Both with a background in excellence and athleticism, Tiff and Allie knew they were on the right track because of how sore they were after their first job. In the past 6 years, they have impacted the lives of countless people by reducing the risk of lung cancer in homes, apartments, businesses, hotels, and senior living centers, and even industrial sites.
Boom.
Boom. Mic, drop mic. Let's just stop right there.
Honestly.
So the reason I'm having you two ladies on the podcast today is because I enjoy spending time with you. Really, whenever I get the opportunity to have conversations, hanging out, anytime, it's just absolute fun and positive and uplifting. And I get a natural high just being in your presence. So I'm so happy to have you here and introduce you and really talk about a leadership competency of flexibility.
Yes.
You got to be flexible to crawl in those crawl spaces,
Oh,
don't
buddy.
you?
Yeah, no pun intended, right? Oh, my God.
Yeah, we always say our radon career started the same time our yoga career did. You know?
That's no joke there, too. Yeah, that's all serious for sure.
Yeah. That is crazy. So let's just, you didn't grow up wanting to be radar
A radon mitigator? No, it wasn't. I didn't know what it was growing up, right? Until we started doing it. And then it was,
Right.
Like I said, it was a good time.
It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
Really.
Tell us about it.
I don't think anybody grows up and is like, hey, yeah, let's be a radon mitigator.
Nope.
It's like, I'm going to be a doctor, a veterinarian, a pilot, or whatever.
If you're me, I wanted to be a bum on the beach in a cardboard box.
Yeah.
Like
Did
that's
you?
what I drew on my little kid. What do you want to be when you grow up? And people are drawing like doctors and firemen, and I drew a bum on it. I thought they were living the dream.
Yeah, we balance each other out a lot.
That's good. So how did it? You landed on the business, but like, and you were both college athletes. So how did you come across the radon?
This is such a good question. Oh my gosh. So I've done a bunch of different things in my career. One of the things I have done is project management for Idaho National Lab. So nuclear energy, fun stuff. But I was carpooling with the prior owner, Larry, good old Larry. And he basically was getting ready to retire. Around the same time, we had quit our jobs, more or less, started a real estate company. And this just kind of happened. So Larry was like, hey, can you help me? I'm like, can you help me out? His kids were helping him out and decided that wasn't their jam. So we did our first crawl space job in Chubbuck, actually. And
It really was like we're just this is a crawl space job, just doing work. And then the next day, my butt was so sore. Like, and I was like, oh, I could get down with this, you know?
so
Like I can work and I get sore. This is like heaven.
Yeah, like college double days, like like brutal.
Yeah.
And it was funny though, because after that we'd help Larry out a little bit, and then within about 6 months, I think, from that first job, we had bought the company.
Yeah.
Wow.
Got certified and did the
Got
whole nine.
certified and took it over, and that's about just over 6 years ago now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 years of yoga every day and
But yeah, yoga, flexibility,
Cold yoga.
Cold yoga.
and
Yeah.
hot yoga.
Especially right now, like this -20 stuff in Jackson that we were just doing. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
What, you have heated jackets.
We
Oh,
do.
yeah.
Yeah. That's the only way to survive.
Yeah. It's the only way
Yeah.
that I'm still doing this.
About the fingers, that's the one thing that I have a question about. Like those, I mean, they gotta freeze.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
toes.
Yeah.
And toes.
Yeah.
I'm looking into heated socks.
Okay.
Yeah. I've put the feelers out. Yeah.
Good. Well, today we're going to be talking about the flexibility, the leadership competency flexibility. So you both talk about how flexible you are with your customers and how things go. So can you give some examples of how you learned that, or what your philosophy is on being flexible?
Yeah, it's actually one of our favorite sayings is that, remaining flexible is one of our best qualities. There's a lot of things that I think go into every job that you have here's the thing. You make a plan and then life happens, right? So you have this plan, like we're going to do all these things, and that's all well and good. And something as simple as somebody forgot, right? Or it snows 6 inches and you can't get there. Or whatever it is.
Or your drills won't work because it's so stinking cold. And
Yeah.
that, like, I work, this body will function, but if my tools don't work because it's so cold, what do you do?
Yeah. And so it's just that integration of, okay, so initially, and this wasn't a saying going out of the gate when we started the business. Like, we're like, no, everything goes exactly as planned. And it took probably two years before we're like, hey, so every time we think it's going to go as planned and it doesn't, we end up getting a little frustrated and mad. And we don't want to be frustrated and mad, especially because we work together. We're together all the time. So if we're frustrated and mad at work, then that bleeds over, and it just sort of, like you kick that ball down the court. And it is one of those things that finally we're like, okay, listen, it's going to get messed up, and that's okay. Then what do we do? And so then we started integrating this whole flexibility is one of our best qualities. And at first, we were just being jackasses.
Pro tip.
Pro tip. We were being jackasses. We're like, flexibility is our best quality. But then it ultimately, like, it integrated in a way where, like, no, it really is pretty powerful to remain flexible.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you can either remain flexible or you can get pissed off.
Right.
Pissed off wasn't an option. So.
Right, especially after we started hiring. So it's one thing to work together, and we can communicate. If stuff doesn't go great, then we can still work together. We can work it out. But then when you add a few other people into the mix, it's like, okay, now I feel like I'm I'm incompetent because this is what we planned. This isn't what is happening, and I'm trying to lead. I'm trying to create an example and show these younger people how to do what we do. And that, that last very long.
Lots of lessons and flexibility and
Oh,
opportunities for learning.
Yeah,
there
yeah.
are, aren't there?
Yeah. And it's fun though, because it's also, but like you said, with opportunities, like remaining flexible has given us more opportunities.
Oh,
You know, we're like, oh, hey, this got messed up. And then it just turns out the phone will ring and you'll go do another bid and it'll lead to this and it'll lead to this. And it's really, I think everybody should remain flexible. Unless you got the magic wand that dictates how the world works.
Yeah.
But I haven't met that person yet. We meet a lot of people, but I haven't met that one. Nope.
I love the idea of just going. This is something I've been working on. You guys both know that the last few months I've been doing coaching with Peter Crone, and one of the things that is in there is like accepting life as it is. And can you be with this? Like, can you just be with something that sucks? Can you be with things aren't the way you want them to be?
Yeah,
Right.
that's one of our other
Yeah.
favorite sayings. Sometimes it sucks to feel good. You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing. Going in a crawl space is going in a crawl space. Some of them are really small. Some of them are, you know, jobs are funky. It's like, if I break down that moment, it sucks. But when we get done, because we hold ourselves to a high caliber, we'll get done, we'll look at it, and it'll be great. And then at the end of it, we're like, hey, that sucked, but golly, it feels good to be done. And to do it at a level where we know the results will get achieved. We did our job. We did what we said we are going to do, even though it sucks. And sometimes it sucks to feel good, but the feel good happens. It's fun when it does.
It is.
Right. And you hit the nail on the head, I think, Angie, is ultimately we don't control anything, right? We're just living our life.
Yeah.
We're doing our best. We're navigating and doing what we can do to make a plan and create something awesome. But at the end of the day, nobody has control. And we've had so
They
many.
have anxiety.
Oh my gosh, right? Like, if you think you're in control, boy, howdy.
Yeah.
Boy, howdy. But it's been interesting because as soon as we, like, that mindset shift happened, opportunity has just opened up.
Yeah.
I mean, from deal after deal to clients, like we say, well, we're going to Jackson or we're going to Driggs, wherever we're going, because we go all over the state of Idaho and Wyoming. Wherever we're going, it's like a radar. A radar will go off and the phone is just off the hook.
And we'll be in Jackson. It's like, we'll be in Jackson, and then 3 or 4 people will call from Jackson. If we're in, you know, Driggs, same thing will happen. If we're in Idaho Falls, same thing. Yeah, and I don't know how. It's not like,
You're a frequency. You're putting out a frequency.
We do.
yeah, our truck's not that
Radar.
loud. Yeah,
It's a radar.
it is. We saw the little,
Radon radar.
yeah, the beacon's going off
Yeah.
again. Here we
You're
are.
picking up the frequency
Yeah.
you want.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and if we were so rigid on our schedule on, no, we have to be, we told them we would be here at 9 o'clock, then we wouldn't have gone, then we wouldn't have gone to that bid. If we wouldn't have gone to that bid, then we wouldn't have got that job, you know, if we stayed. But really all it was is, hey, we'll push it back an hour. It turns out it was really cold, so it was fine that we pushed it back an hour. We'll still get everything done, and everything will be fine.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think it makes us, I don't know, it's more enjoyable for us to do it that way.
Yeah.
It's way more fun.
You're not fighting about stuff. You're not
No.
letting it ruin your day.
No.
Because like Ellie was saying, I mean, we work together, we go home together, so we're together 24/7. So if anything doesn't go well in the day, there's like, it is not an option to take that home. That's just, we don't operate that way. And so many people ask us that is how do you do it? How do you not like murder your spouse?
Like, well, we have a lot of fun. That's how. Like, if you're having fun, there's no time for that.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's funny though. But yeah, flexibility, it's power for sure.
Yeah.
It's not fun to be flexible, but it's important, and it's actually, I think it's like more of a path of most resistance, because we naturally want to be just like, no, it's going to be this way. This is how I plan. This is what my plan was. But I think life will continue to show you, well, people and circumstances to reveal where you're not free, where like that's something that you need to work on, because you really don't have any control over what other people do or what they say or what they think, or, you know, it's just all a fallacy.
Yeah.
And so the sooner you change that mindset, it's like, oh, things didn't happen as planned. Of course they didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Why would I think they would?
Nobody else on the planet got the memo.
Right.
Like, maybe we got to blast that memo out louder.
You
Hey,
didn't get my script.
this is how you'll be living.
This is what I need to say today. Don't say anything else.
We're going to start sending you our daily
Your
plan
script.
to see if that
script.
works. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Our daily plan. So I'm just going to send you our calendars. That way you know what we're doing. So that way the whole world will know.
Wait,
Right.
she has a script for me, and you have a script for me.
Yeah.
And then my parents have a script for me, and everybody's got a script. And
And
I
God
just-
forbid somebody has kids.
Yeah,
'Cause we
no,
know they'll
good
throw their
Lord.
own script in. And they're improv masters.
Yeah. And so then you're all of a sudden wanting to be rigid in an environment that doesn't allow for rigidity.
Right.
There's nothing on the planet that's rigid. Like when you really break down
Yeah.
anything, and you can go down different levels of this, there's nothing that is really set. Even stones move. You know what I mean? Yeah, mountains move all the time, whether or not you want them to or not. And it's like, hey, so you can either complain about it or you can do something with it.
Right. And that's the thing about opportunity too. So not just radon related, but life related. You know, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be in an entirely different field than we are and apply the same approach. But that's how opportunity works. If you think about, okay, this is my vision, this is my dream, this is the life I'm going to create, this is the steps, and you have this perfect plan. It's laid into place, and then life reveals itself, and all of a sudden it's like, well, that's not exactly what I planned. But that's not the point. The point is that, like, for me, I just surrender, right? Like, I create this plan, I surrender to what's going to happen, and you adjust along the way. And that's probably one of the most fun things about life and business ownership. But just really opportunity. It doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're a business owner or your employee. It really doesn't matter what you do. But that flexibility is power. But everything's going to reveal itself. And it's never exactly how you think it's going to be.
It isn't. And the sooner we surrender, and I love that. And
Yeah.
I love the book. I don't know if you've ever read it, The Surrender Experiment.
Oh, totally. Michael Singer.
Yeah, Michael
Michael
Singer.
all day long. Yeah.
And Untethered Soul.
Yep. One of my favorites.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it changed my life.
2020, we were the life surrender. This year's we're going
Yeah.
to surrender. And it
Surrender.
works so well.
It does.
We
It's
read
like-
The Untethered Soul
At
yearly.
least once a year. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a book read. That's a definite must read.
Oh yeah.
If you have trouble letting go and needing to have control over things, and you struggle with being flexible, I really highly recommend both of those.
Oh, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
Anything else or that you?
Oh my gosh. I really enjoyed A New Earth by Eckhart. Is it Tolle?
Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah, I love
Tolle?
that one too.
That was one of my favorites. Oh my gosh, there's
so many.
Lists and lists of them.
Yeah.
Of course, what is it? Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
Think and Grow Rich is another one. And we recently, reading again is Energy Codes by Dr. Sue Morter.
That one's fun.
Kind of a different perspective on similar things. But ultimately, yeah, surrender is an underlying thing. And but yeah, Michael Singer, The Untethered Soul, is just it. That one is probably one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah. One time I was going through a difficult time, and one of my friends said to me, "When you stop struggling, you float." And I just think it's so accurate. I mean, whenever you're fighting against life and fighting and fighting and fighting, it's exhausting. You're worn out. You're tired. And then you just stop and you let life happen as it happens, even if it's not what you want. It's just such a peaceful existence when you finally get to that point.
Yeah, it's like the whole world gets quieter when you stop the noise in your own head about it. You know,
Yeah.
when you think about how much of life is lived inside your own head. So you're taking a situation, you're inside your own head about it, you know, and it could be, I'll say, you know, a job or whatever, a meeting, anything, and you're in your own head about it before because it's not happening. So if it's not happening yet and you're in your own head, you may as well be in your own head in the best possible place because it's not even happening.
Right.
So that, you know, and there's so many people that are like, oh, but what if this happens? What if that happens? What if this happens? But what if it doesn't? And you never even wasted time
Right.
thinking about it.
Just freaking out.
Yeah, there was
about
this.
nothing.
Yeah, there was this one job
Oh
we
my
did
gosh.
in Boise.
This was a few years ago. This was before the
This was-
flexibility
yeah.
happened.
This was like the big. This was
Reflex.
yeah. This was a huge turning moment
Oh my
because we had
gosh.
this job and it was a bigger job. It was one of our first bigger jobs. You know,
Mm-hmm.
a huge apartment complex trying to, you know, and we were doing something. We made up this plan that was different than the 3 or 4 other people that went and bid it. And so we made up this plan and we're like, no, we can do it with this. We can do this. And I spent probably 30 hours in my own mind about it.
So much stress. Oh my God.
So much because I want it to be perfect. I want it to be great. I don't, you know, I want them to think that we got this. We know what we're doing, all these things. And then we get there And nothing even happened the way that I thought about. I spent 30 hours of my whole life, like, thinking about something that didn't even happen.
That was
and
the
after
ego thinking
Yeah,
that.
it was.
and I was like,
100%.
I'm like, I wasted so much time. And I was, anxious and all these things. I'm like, okay, well, that was dumb. Let's just not do that again.
At least you learned from it, right?
Like, yeah, I'm like, huh. And now I'll catch myself. I'm like, oh, what about this? What about this? I'm like, yeah, but what if it doesn't do that? What if it's perfect and it's fine? And then what that does is when it allows, like, I'm not saying we're perfect. We make mistakes. But when those mistakes happen, then it also, you're in the present moment and you can address it in the present moment, which is way easier to communicate with people because as soon as you make mistakes, really one of the first things you do is incorporate other people to help you fix it. Right? Because you made a mistake. And a lot of times you can fix it yourself, but other things, like, we can't. And so then what do you do? And if you're only in your own head, how do you reach out to others? It makes it really hard to reach out to others if you're trapped inside.
Spinning out up there.
Yeah. 30 hours. Can you believe that?
It was a lot. There was a lot
Nobody
of
even paid me
stress.
for that.
I'm going to bill the client later for Allie's stress.
That would have been a huge job.
Yeah. I've done that multiple times, and I'm learning, and it really takes time to reprogram your brain and you feel it coming on, and then you're like, okay, stop.
Right.
Okay, I see what you're doing there,
Yeah.
and now let's just kind of watch the mind and go, this isn't gonna matter. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And I stop to give a space to ask questions like, is this really true?
Right.
Is what if it doesn't happen?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna get into fight or flight and in anxiety, either freeze or whatever.
Yeah.
If I don't really look at it at all perspectives, not just this perspective that I'm having,
Right.
the fear perspective.
Yeah, because if you did a poll of people and asked them, what do you think about situations that haven't happened yet, that are future situations? Do you think about the worst thing that can happen, or do you think about the best thing that can happen? And I would say most people think about the worst possible outcome.
Worst case scenario.
Okay, so then it's funny, I do this with the cold now because I'm over complaining about the cold. We live in Idaho, it's cold, right? So this new thing with the cold is, well, we were walking around Jackson the other night, and I'm like, well, here's the thing. We have to walk a half mile. That's 10 minutes. Okay. Nobody that's wearing a puffy coat and fleece-lined pants has ever died walking 10 minutes on the city streets.
Or there's like businesses.
Like,
you
I can
stop.
go in REI on the way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna die. So, okay, how about we just enjoy it? And then you surrender to that, and now it's fine to breathe cold air. It feels good when you really enjoy it. And so if it's, and then the best possible outcome is, okay, so you just go to, what's the worst thing that can happen? You die. That's the worst thing to me that can happen, right? You die. Okay, so if that's not going to happen, then what good can we find here? What is, and just get that monkey off the back already, because 99.9% of the time, you're not going to die.
Right. And when you change that it's because all it is a perspective shift, right? We're talking about a mindset. And as soon as you make that shift, it's amazing what happens upstairs, right? You start thinking about things differently. You see opportunities. You see things that you never saw before. And even when it's frigid cold,
Yeah.
there's a pretty part of everything. And I think that's really important. There's nothing, you can never be like fully prepared for anything. It's just like being athletes, right? You practice and you practice, you practice. But why do you practice? For the game.
So you can mess up as
And
many
you show
times
up
as
at the game, right? You mess up and then you show up at the game and you should be prepared and you should be ready to show your best stuff. It's just like life, just like radon mitigation. You can show up with all the materials, the tools, the training. You do all the things you think you should do. You show up.
And the homeowner forgot to unlock the door.
And you
they're
drove
gone.
4 hours to get to the job and realize that, it's like some things just don't pan out.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and you talk to more people and you hear their stories, and even the situations where the worst possible scenario is among them. Like, hey, listen, this is a life or death. Like, that is on the table. That is that point one at a time. The people that we've come into contact with and have direct experience with, the ones that say, okay, I get that, but that's not my story, are the ones that are still here.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're the ones that are like, hey, I did something that nobody thought was possible, but check that out. Hey, look at me. I'm still here.
I'm still there.
I'm still here, and here we are. Because, it didn't happen any other way, because it didn't.
Right.
right?
Couldn't have happened any other way.
Couldn't have happened any other
Yeah.
way because it didn't.
It didn't. Absolutely. And I even think I see people that are faced with things like cancer or something like
Exactly.
that. And they shift their mindset at this same point of remaining flexible. What am I learning from this? How and what are the opportunities? Instead of the fear and then worst case and just going down that place.
Right.
I've really enjoyed meeting people that have that mindset of I'm just going to let it teach me what it teaches me, and I'm going to try to heal myself, and I'm
Right.
going to think that I'm going to work on healing and doing everything I can. But really, what is this teaching me? And most of them say it's really taught me I've had extra time. What's important to me? It showed me what's important to me. It showed me all of these types of things. So I think it's just such a skill, but it's underrated and underutilized.
I love that. And the hard part about being in the radon business is it's talking to those people with cancer. I mean, there's so many non-believers with radon, even though radon's on the periodic table.
It's noble.
We
it's
learned,
noble gas.
we
You get
learned-
it?
right? We learned about it hopefully in high school, but it's gut wrenching. Like we had a client today.
Yeah, this morning.
This morning on the way here has lung cancer.
He never smoked in his
Never
life.
smoked in his life. His radon level 7. We want it to be well below 4. But you meet these people in the perspective shift because these people, right, they could take the approach and say, well, screw it. I've lived here my whole life. I don't need to do anything about it. But then you meet these people and we get to interact with them. And it's so wonderful to have that interaction because despite the condition that they're in, like they call us to solve a problem. There's nothing we can do about their current physical state, but we can help reduce the risk of lung cancer in the future. At least after this individual actually had surgery, had a what is it called?
Lobectomy.
Lobectomy.
Good job, Doc.
Doctor over there, right? But it's a great perspective shift because we've had just in the last few months, like a few different people that have lung cancer never smoked in their life.
And you don't know if it's conclusively from radon, but at the same time, like there's studies out there that say it's a high correlation. We live in this area. Hey, and there's something you can do about it. So I don't know.
had never even heard of it before.
No, to be totally honest, I hadn't either until Larry called and needed some help. And then I'm like, oh, and then you start learning. And then people are like, yeah, but does it really happen? Do people really do this? And I'm like, well, if you answered the phone calls we did, you would know that answer. And I get that you don't, because who would answer? You know, you just don't know unless you're in that situation. And then it's, hey, and after that, and for us, we're not pushers. I'm not into arguing or forcing or anything like that. It's just we're education based. Like, hey, here's some facts. Here's our experience. Here's some other people's experience. And whatever you want to do moving forward is totally, no matter what, we're good.
Yeah.
Like, just be nice.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, just be nice to me.
I just want to work with nice people.
I just want to work with nice people, you know? Like, we're already showing up as two chicks doing a construction job, you know, in our bow tie shirts. Like, hey, listen, we're already doing some stuff that's a little bit different. How about, hey, just be nice.
Just be nice.
Just be nice.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I want to hear some more stories of things you had to, like stories about how you had to be flexible and that came up in the way of.
Oh my gosh, how many are there? Well, man,
There's lots of them.
one comes to mind right away. Is so a few years ago, we were working on this beautiful home. It was this beautiful home in Jackson, actually, and an inspector did a radon test. Inspector did a radon test, said it was like 12. So we're like, okay, we put together this plan. It's like a 6,000 square foot crawl space. It's a massive, beautiful home, luxury home, like all the things that come along with it.
It's one of my top 3 faves.
One of Allie's favorite homes. And we do what we know best, right? We do what we train. We install the radon system. It takes like it took like a whole week.
Yeah, it took forever.
Took like a whole week. Client brought us breakfast in the crawl space. Like,
It was so nice.
Oh
We
my
were working
God.
on a Sunday, and he's like, oh, guys, here you go.
Yeah.
Like, I made this for you. I didn't think you'd have time to come up, but here you go. And it was just he didn't have to do that. You know, it was cool. And we weren't supposed to be there on Sunday either.
'cause it was supposed to get done a little sooner. But it was a bear of a job. But everything went well, right? We got the job done. Clients are happy. We go to do a test afterwards because we guarantee our results, right? We do the radon system. We do a test to make sure it's below 4. And then 4 picocuries per liter. we do the test and it's higher than it was from the original inspection results. So I'm like, okay, there's some funny business going on here. So we did our own test. Turns out it was over 100.
So they forgot a zero.
They forgot a zero. It was like 112 or something like that.
Yeah.
And part of our contracts, you go into this, I'm going to bid the job, I guarantee my work. And with a scale of a job like this, like you can lose your bacon, is what I'm saying. A job this big, if you don't have all the good information going into it, it can really hurt the business. So in this case, it was, flexibility is power, right? One, I was just like, I have to eat my own words because I didn't double check the initial. I trusted that initial test report was valid, which you would think that an inspector would hold up that quality, but turns out.
But you never know what happens. Who knows?
Somebody. You never know. Like I'm not pointing the finger. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
So there's that. But then we have to still solve the problem, and it comes down to us. So in a situation like that, fortunately, it comes out of communication with our client, and our client was nice.
That's helpful.
I mean, honestly, he brought the perfectly cooked egg.
Yeah.
Come on.
Into the crawl space, or did he let you go?
No,
We did not in crawl space.
We got out of the crawl space.
Yeah, we had to take off our respirators. I can't eat through that.
Oh, that's true.
Come on, Angie.
Right?
Dummy.
Read a book.
Pro tip.
Pro tip, take off the respirator and then eat lunch. But that ultimately, that job, like the way it cultivated and turned into something. So, we really do stand by what we say, and we're not ones that are like, hey, we didn't catch this, so we're going to charge you more. It's like, hey, if we didn't catch it, that's not your fault. That's our fault.
We made a mistake, straight up. Like we made a mistake. We have to solve this.
But this job ultimately, it's kind of interesting because we were there for so long with that guy. Then he sold the house, and we were there with the new owners. So we got to meet 2 or 3 different people. And as we're meeting these people, trying to fix this stinking problem, we came up with a solution that everybody was okay with. The levels got lower, and we got to meet instead of just 2 cool people. And we have conversations with as many of our clients as we can. That's one of our favorite parts. It turned into conversations with 8 people. And did we lose a little money? Yeah, but we gained a lot of experience, and we gained even more quality relationships out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And that's been
huge.
That's our favorite part about this job, to be totally honest. We get to go into so many different properties. We love properties, and we get to meet so many different people, and people are really cool. I think humans get a bad rap because some of them are really loud and they say things that are really offensive, But at the same time, we've met a ton of them that are awesome, that really you get around and you feel better because you're around them. And we've had our fair share of going into places and being like, oh, great. They're great. They don't think I can put a hole in a roof because I'm a girl. Like it's the dumbest thing ever, but it happens, and it happens. It's
real, yeah. One of those
I guess
things.
they didn't know that we've been doing this for a while, right? When we show up to a new client's house, they don't know that we're,
It's a bias.
It is.
Right? It's just
It
a
is.
bias.
Yeah, but it's interesting because situations like that, though, you grow from it, right? So if we wouldn't have learned from that situation and applied that to the future, that's a mistake, right? Or a failure. You can call it what you want to call it, but that has taken our company and totally transitioned it entirely to something else, something better, because what we've learned from that one situation, we've been able to apply it. But I would say one of the other interesting things when it comes to flexibility is, like, we are 2 chicks, okay? Let's cat's out of the bag, okay?
Yep. Anytime they're like, hey, they send us a text, hey, tell your guys that the house is really here. It's not here. I was like, okay, we'll tell the guys. Like, at first we would be like, can you just tell them that we're coming? And now we're just like, yeah, we're just going to show up.
Yeah.
No, like even on the telephone, like, because I take a lot of the calls. The clients will say, okay, so when your guys show up, can you tell them this? I'm like, okay, yeah, when we get there, we'll do that. Okay. So when the guys show up, and it like, so there's
because my name is Allie. Like,
so
is it
a lot of
Ali?
people think it's Ali instead of Allie, which is funny too. But we've had, when we very first started, that a lot of these things came in the first 2 years. You learn so much in the first 2 years, but Allie kind of already touched on it, is that we get to a job and, we work with a lot of builders, contractors, people that are building these brand new homes. And when we first started, they probably got the indication that we were like new, younger, and a little inexperienced. Like we had all the training and stuff, but there's still a lot to learn after you've had the basic training, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The experience.
The experience.
Yeah.
And these, we've had on multiple occasions had people ask if we need to borrow their tools.
Yeah.
Because, we fit a certain demographic.
But then here's the thing, I thought that was normal. And so then we started talking to our contractor buddies, and I was like, hey, Dan, does anybody ever ask you if you need to borrow their tools or you need a ladder? And he looks at me, he's like, no. I was like, oh, it is because we're girls. I didn't even know. At first, I didn't even know that they were like, didn't think we knew what we were doing just because I just thought they were being friendly, and at first, we're like, oh, no, because people would offer, can I help carry something? And I'm like, no, I can carry my own stuff.
Yeah.
I'm tough. I can do this.
I bring it, I can carry it.
Yeah, it's my stuff. And then we get to this one job, and the job, it's bigger, and we're carrying these rolls of membrane, and they're like 80 pounds, 90 pounds each.
They're awkward.
And
but
somebody's like, hey, can I help you? I'm like,
sure.
yep. And now, if anything, I'm flexible. I can do this. You want to help me? Sweet. Like, go ahead. And then I'm like, Tiff, do you think that they offer everybody help? Because that would sure be cool if they did. And then just go on my merry way.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, flexibility, it's really important because we could have, at that moment, decided, well, we do fit a certain demographic. You can put us in a category in a box if you want. And we could have said, okay, we could have gotten frustrated and quit. We could have said, screw this. This isn't what I want to do. The people don't treat me right. I do deserve more respect, blah, 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 blah. But that's not how we operate. How we operate is like, well, snap. I need to step up my game, right? Like, or I just have to, I'm not going to win everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it took a lot. It was so humbling for me to get to the point where it's like, it's okay if you don't get every job.
Yeah.
Or if people don't like you.
People don't like me, and that, and that's okay. But having that flexibility and that mindset and that confidence and not letting the ego get in the way, oh my gosh, because it was such a turning point, such a pivotal moment.
Because I think there's a huge draw for humans to want for everybody. Like I would enjoy if everybody liked me.
Me too.
Like
I
that's
would- I'm not
I
gonna
love
lie.
it when people like me. Oh my goodness,
Like, life is way more fun.
it's so easy when
Be
people
nice
like you.
and
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
But at the same time, that'd be super hypocritical because true story is I don't like everybody.
Right.
So to think that everybody would like me is kind of hypocritical.
Yeah.
I do think I'm pretty cool, but at the same time, some people don't like cool.
Yeah, that's true.
know?
You're the different kind of cool.
Yeah. Some people like other things, and that's okay.
It is.
And it's just okay, cool.
Yeah.
And sometimes just moving on from, we spend a lot of time trying to get every single job when truthfully we were talking to the client, we looked at the job, nothing about it even felt good. And at some point I'm like, why am I working so hard to get a job I don't even want? Like, why am I doing something to get something that I don't even want to be around anymore?
Yeah.
And as soon as like, hey, I don't want that job. And it's like, okay, cool.
But then sometimes they accept.
Yeah.
You overbid them and
Yeah. Just a little. Here's a pro tip.
This is a real pro
This is a real pro tip here. So contractors, right? They can, you're talking to the owners and the people setting up the bids. They are charging whatever they seem fit for that job. If somebody makes me highly uncomfortable or they're rude or something like that, it costs more. Why? Because I don't have to do the job. Like,
Mine melt.
do you know how many people are hiring right now?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
worst case scenario, I can go get another job. I'm a really good employee also.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, I'll just charge you more because you're
hard
being
to
a
deal
jerk.
with.
Yeah.
You're hard to deal with.
Well, it
And there's
takes
a
more
few.
time.
You take
Like-
more of my brain away, and the more of my brain away you take, the more money it costs you. Why? Because I can't get anything else from you. Like, I'm not going to get my brain back. Like,
It's
you
not-
stole
doesn't
that for a
feel
minute.
Good.
Yeah.
But so if you want contractors to hook you up on prices, be cool.
Just be nice. Shoot.
Pro tip.
Yeah.
Pro tip.
Yeah.
I love that.
Be cool.
I've noticed too that the less you chase, the more you get.
Yeah. It's very, yeah.
It's weird.
You're
It's
over
paradoxical.
eager. You're trying to please, people please, and it that's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you'll please them so much that you get yourself into a situation that you don't want to be in.
Or you don't like yourself.
Yeah.
Because then you're like kind of kissing butt to somebody.
Right.
Like, I'm not about
I'm like, I
that
don't
either.
even want that person to like me.
Yeah.
I don't want to even be the friends. And we're friends with a lot of our clients, but I don't want to be friends with that guy.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to find something cool. I guess he had a bike.
Yeah.
That was neat. That's what I always look for. Like, what in his house do I also like? Like, please have a picture of the mountains. Please have a dog. Like, those are cool.
Yeah, whatever you can connect, however you can connect with
totally.
them.
Yeah. But I mean, and sometimes, to be fair, sometimes it does take just that little bit of connection to get somebody to the point where you can have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where a conversation can be going rough. And this really has happened also, where, you know, because it's different. Things that are different throw people off kilter. And so we've gone into that and been having a conversation, and then all of a sudden there really is that, and it really is bicycles a lot of times. Like, I'll see a bike and I'll be like, oh, sweet, you ride. And then that'll open a completely different conversation, has nothing to do with the job, but it gets us on a plane where we can communicate, and then it opens up a pretty big door. You know, we've done that with different builders where they're like, you're not putting a hole in my roof. I was like, okay, fine, I've done it like 7 billion times, but I won't put a hole in yours. Yours is different. You're right, big guy. And then, you know, you start talking to him and you work through something else that has nothing to do with anything about the job. And it just makes it so you can be on the same communication pathway. And that's really the ticket with most things, I think, is how well can you communicate what they want, what you can do, how it can mix.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Man, I could just keep doing this for
Yeah.
hours.
Honestly.
We're going to.
Yeah.
Let's pick up some more conversations.
Yeah.
Let's go through the topic list again.
Yeah, I do want to ask 3 tips from pro tips.
Pro tips.
More pro tips for our audience about, you know, what do you wish you knew earlier that you had known when you were younger, or just any kind of words of wisdom for the audience that would be helpful.
I think one of the biggest things is to remain curious. You know, remain curious. A lot of times it's really easy to go into the world and every day and stop being curious about what you're doing, because you know you got to eat breakfast, you know how to drive a car, you know how to do all these things. So much so that you're not curious about what's happening. You know, like, hey, like even driving down the road and there's construction everywhere and you're like, hey, this is really sucky. It's slowing me down and all this. But get curious about it. Hey, what would it take to even do that? You know, what would it take to set that up? Or curious about freaking the leaves on the tree. Like anything. There's so many things around in the world to remain curious about. That's one.
That's a great one. I really like that one. One other thing I think is to, a lot of times, like as we grow up, or it doesn't matter what stage we are in life, we talked about this kind of in the beginning, we have this plan. We have this plan of how we think our life is going to turn out. And many people get stuck in this paradigm, right? You're in this rat race. You're just going, you're going, you're going. This is what I think I should do. But to get to the point where you are following your heart and your passion versus what I should do, right? I think it was you actually that told me, don't should on yourself. It's probably one of my favorite things. It was.
I say that a lot.
You do.
Don't should on yourself.
Or anyone else.
It's so wonderful. But following your heart and your passion, because at the moment that we decided, we said, okay, well, we took the jump. Like we straight up like quit our jobs, cashed out our 401k, took this jump. Everybody told us not to do it.
Yeah.
Everybody, family, friends, like everybody that's really close to you will tell you that. Not because they don't support you, but it's because their fear are projecting at you. And once I learned that that was what was happening, it was okay. But at first, I took that so personal. And it took me in a direction that I didn't even want to go. Even though I was still on this entrepreneur path. But to follow your heart and your passion, and when you're so passionate about something, and you really love it, it will happen. Just have that trust in yourself and know that just follow your guns, follow your heart, and just let it go. And sometimes your biggest supporters on one hand are going to be your biggest haters on the other, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you need to cut out your family and friends and like cut everybody off, you know, which is part of it.
Unless it does.
Well, unless it does, but like follow your heart and trust it and just roll with it because it will work out.
Yeah. And the other thing, I think the third one, I think you'll agree with me on this, is to be fun. You know, to be fun.
That.
There's a difference between having fun and being fun. Having fun is relying on a lot of people, on a lot of things, on a lot of activities. But to be fun is... Then you start to take control and you can start to be really, and have fun. Like be fun, have fun, enjoy it. This is the only ride we got on this life.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a button that's going to let you redo 20 years. There's no redo.
No.
It's just what can you do with the next one? What can you do in this moment?
Yeah.
You know, and the people that I look up to the most enjoy what they're doing the most. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be something that I have zero interest in. But if they enjoy what they're doing, all of a sudden I'm like, hey, you're somebody I could be around.
Right.
Because you're enjoying life. You're having fun. It's a good time to be around people who are fun.
Yeah.
And I just want to add to that really quick is going with being fun is like, it feels good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like when you don't know what fun is, if you got so off track and you don't know, like, just does it feel good? Is it good?
Yeah. Yeah. You get 4 because there's 2 of us.
Yeah.
So our other thing we go with.
You're 6 for 3 each.
Yeah. Listen, I got lots of fingers. We can keep counting.
Yeah.
So we have this thing, this theory. If it's the feel good theory. If it feels good during and feels good after, do more of it. Right. Like if it feels good during but bad after, you have a decision. If it sucks to do and it sucks afterwards, do less of that, right? And then you'll find yourself doing things that you enjoy more often when you do that. Like if it feels good, do more of it. Like it's either good or it's bad. There really is. You can break situations down to that, good and bad. If you do more good, you will feel more good. If you do more bad, you will feel more bad. There's no way to do bad and feel good. It doesn't. That's not how it works.
It doesn't line up.
Yeah.
Right? If it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. And really let it be that simple driving force forward.
Oh, I love that. That is so good. Power of Fun. Have you read that?
No.
That's your next read.
Oh, they put it on the
Power of
list.
Fun. And there's even a quiz that goes along
What?
with it about what you like to do for
fun quiz?
a fun
What?
quiz.
That's a test I can get down with.
Buddy.
I want to see your results.
Oh, jeez. You'd be like, what are you two doing?
I made Rob do it with me too. I was like, okay, I printed it off so I had to answer for myself and ask him. So we went through it, and then I'm like, well, let's do more fun things that we both enjoy.
Yeah.
And
100%.
And things that he likes. Then decide if I want to do some of those to add more fun there, and
Yeah.
then he does some of the things I like. But we had a lot of
Yeah.
existing ones that were the same. So I'm
What
like,
was
let's
the
do
name
more.
of that again?
The Power of Fun,
Power
and it
of
has research. I want to say it's Susan Price. I don't know. I can't remember. Or Susan Kane. I can't remember.
I'll look it up, yeah.
Yeah, The Power of Fun, and loved it. Loved it. And she had a word in there too, fun, comfortable.
Ooh, fun, comfortable.
Do some fun, comfortable stuff. Like,
I like that.
like things that push you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like crawl spaces are fun, comfortable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
They're
one.
really not,
Yeah.
in case anybody's wondering, they're not that cool.
I
But they're not
don't-
that terrible either.
Unless you get curious about it.
Yeah. Like, Tiff's like, did you see that spider? She's like, did you see that spider? And I'm like, no.
I'm like,
why
it's
not? I'm like, I
huge.
didn't look for a spider. I'm not looking for spiders. I don't see
And I,
spiders.
like the biologist in me is like, that was so cool.
So she's over there taking her phone out, taking pictures. I'm like, what are you freaking doing identifying spiders?
You got a spider finder on your phone. Like it's
No, but I'll take it. Well, I can't look it up while I'm in the crawl space. You know,
Yeah.
There's not good
there's
service.
a time and a place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's funny.
I never thought about the service in the crawl space.
Yeah, I know.
It's not very
Things
good.
you never thought you'd think about.
I'm curious.
You can come on a job with us.
Yeah, you're always welcome.
Or not.
You're always welcome.
Well, I love spending time, and I know that the listeners are going to really enjoy this message. And
Hope
I
so.
think that also the one thing I wanted to mention is this is our first podcast sponsors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when we were like, hey, we really like listening to Angie's podcast. You know, like we really do value what you're doing in the conversations you're having with people from all the different fields. We're like, hey, we support a lot of different things. With even going to the grocery store, you know, you buy something from a grocery store, you're supporting that grocery store. And like, hey, where can we support that we enjoy, that we use, that we get value from? And so that's why, you know, we reached out. We're like, hey, can we sponsor you so that way you can keep doing this? You know, there's a cost to do everything. Is there any way we can help you out so that way we can keep doing this and we can keep learning from you? So we appreciate you allowing us to sponsor.
Yeah,
to be totally
definitely,
honest,
yeah.
it's awesome.
It
That
really
is awesome. And I hope it just sparks a wave that I can continue to do it and also possibly do more. Because
Yeah.
if I could do one a week, that would be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when I do one a week.
Yeah.
When you do.
do one a week.
Yeah.
When I do one a week.
When you do one a week, a lot of people's lives will improve.
Yeah.
For sure.
Totally, 100%.
Well, thank you for listening, and thank you for being a part of this, and thank you for being fun, awesome, and just fun, making it fun, comfortable.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting us come play.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.